The 2014 to 2020 Toyota Tundra comes with a few different headlight options depending on the year and the trim that you got your truck in. The OEM LED headlights that come on the Tundra aren't bad, but they're an old school LED reflector technology, and every Tundra out there seems to have them. If you want a true upgrade in performance, brightness, style, and safety, you gotta look into the Morimoto XB LED projector headlight. These have 3 projectors with integrated bi-LED technology. These things are almost 50% brighter than the stock LED headlights from Toyota, and they have a better beam pattern featuring that super sharp cutoff line and brightness that's going to help you see farther down the road and avoid obstacles that you couldn't see with your old headlights. We're going to jump right in and show you how these are better on the road by comparing brightness and beam pattern. A lot of people think that the most bright option is the best, and that's not really the case in all scenarios. These are 50% brighter than your stock headlights, but I also want to point out the value of a quality beam pattern. The stock OEM LED headlights don't have a bad beam pattern, they could just be better, and that's where these come in. When we use our digital Lux meter to test actual usable brightness at 25 feet, these headlights came in at 420 maximum lux. But take a look at the XB LED projector low beam. This is what we're talking about with brightness and the beam pattern. This is a significantly upgraded beam pattern, and they're 45% brighter than what you currently have on your truck with the best configuration that comes directly from Toyota. You've got that razor sharp cutoff line that everybody loves that looks like a more modern luxury vehicle. You've got those defined hot spots front and center exactly where you need them with a smooth gradient out to the edges and down to the bottom of the beam. These are going to really create an optimal driving experience for any situation. Now let's bounce back to your stock headlights and turn on the high beams. If you've got the OEM LED Toyota headlights and you go to high beam, this is what you get. It's not bad. There's room for improvement though in the vertical spread and the width of this headlight. When we turn on the high beam to the Morimoto XB LED headlights, you can see that the width of the high beam pattern is significantly wider than stock, and it goes up higher than the OEM headlights. There's not much difference between the brightness of these two on high beam, but it's obvious that the XB headlights have a superior beam pattern, which simply means more usable light where you need it. Keep in mind, these headlights fit any Tundra from 2014 all the way up to the newest 2021 models as of the making of this video. On the front, you're going to see a few different key features that make these the preferred headlight for all Tundra owners. Number 1, the 3 projectors. This is the Gen 2 model of the XB headlights for the Tundra. It looks pretty much identical, but these 3 projectors now all do low beam and high beam. But that's not all. They're also brighter than the old version. The other thing that the projectors do now that the old version didn't do, if you're a Tundra owner, you're going to love this. They've got this really cool animated startup sequence that fires up every time you turn the truck on. You want to talk about standing out and showing off, this does the trick. Now, everybody knows that the Tundra also has an LED daytime running light in 2 of the 3 headlights that they came with from the factory. But these ones look better, they have a more desirable color, and they're brighter. In true daytime running light mode, the Osram Oslon 5K LED chips hidden between this C-shaped DRL diffuser run at full brightness, and an astonishing brightness that's impossible to miss during the day. Then at night, when your headlights turn on, it automatically dims by 50% to give you a more blended look and make sure that your actual headlight projectors have the spotlight. These are a completely sealed unit, which means there's nothing that is going to fail in here that you're going to have to take out and replace yourself. No more trips to the parts store to get a little light bulb and tear the front of your vehicle apart just to swap out a turn signal bulb or a headlight bulb. It's all built in, which is a huge benefit if you want hassle-free operation for the lifespan of your truck. The LED projectors have an LED built into a circuit board on the back. The daytime running light is all an integrated LED circuit board, as well as the turn signal. You don't have a separate turn signal bulb anymore with these headlights. Check out what happens when we go from the white DRL to amber turn signal. Now, based on your preference, you can make that a standard blink like you're used to, or in just a second, we'll show you how to do the install and turn on the sequential version. I prefer the more exciting sequential version of the turn signal, but it's really up to you. The other thing that's nice about these headlights is that you don't have that little 194 bulb up in the corner of the headlight anymore. That's pretty much guaranteed to burn out on every headlight that's ever used it. Now you got this cool little amber LED circuit board up there instead. The great part, it's totally plug and play. In a minute, we're going to walk you through the install step by step. The other cool thing is when you're going to buy these headlights, you've got options. This is the white version where the daytime running light is white on DRL and amber on turn signal. You can also opt for an all amber version where it's amber on DRL and amber on turn signal. The choice is yours. They're not switchable. Don't try and figure out how to turn your white DRL into an amber DRL, but you can choose which model you like at the website. Go to headlightrevolution.com for more details and pictures. Up next, we're going to go through a step-by-step install guide so you can see exactly what's involved in adding these headlights to your truck. But first, I wanted to give you an overview of everything that you're going to find on the back. These are built to be a direct plug-and-play replacement for your stock halogen or LED headlights. They've got the same brackets on the top and the bottom, and this looks like a lot of wiring, but it's all designed to be completely plug-and-play. So let me go through those first and help you understand everything that's going on back here. First, we have this metal box that says Morimoto on it. This is actually the driver hardware that powers up the LEDs for the headlights. You should never have to touch that. Just in case you're curious, that's what that is. This little plastic box next to it is a resistor. This is what fools your computer in your truck to thinking that you still have your old incandescent turn signal involved. This is what avoids problems with hyperflash and bulb out errors on your dash. You should never have to touch this in any circumstance. Between the two, up at the top, we have this little gear drive. This is actually your horizontal adjustment. You really shouldn't ever have to tap into this at all. It should be set correctly from the factory, but in case you do want to modify it, it's right there. On the bottom side of this group of components is your original adjuster motor. A lot of people have questions about, are these new headlights compatible with my vehicle with the adjuster motor? Yes, it is. It's right there. If you don't have the adjuster motor from the factory, you can just use this adjuster gear yourself by putting a screwdriver in the top and using it like a manual adjustment. If you do have the dash mounted remote control to adjust your headlights up and down, that wire plugs right in here. This is like an OEM part that accepts the original wire connection. There's nothing to it. You do not have to swap out your old adjuster motor. You just plug the wiring harness for your truck into this one. Now let's move down to the wire harness. This white cable is for the resistor and it just plugs into the harness. You shouldn't ever have to mess with that. Next to that, we have two single wire connectors. These do not plug into each other. Do not attempt it. One is blue, that routes with a special cable to your fuse box that we'll show you how to install in just a minute, and it is to run your daytime running light. The green one is a data connector that you only need in special circumstances. If you plug this whole thing in and everything works, you're good. Don't touch it. The other small connector is this one. This is a 2-pin connector, but it only has one wire in. The reason is to make sure you don't confuse it with the other single wire connectors on the other side of the harness. But these ones do plug in. Depending on if you have it plugged in or unplugged, this dictates whether your turn signal is sequential or standard. Unplug it and plug it in to choose how the new headlights on your truck work. Now moving down the main part of the harness, there's a handful of connectors and it's going to be different depending on if you already have the halogen headlights on your truck or the LED headlights. Let me explain. First, let's go over what the entire thing looks like if you have the OEM LED headlights. This part is going to be the same for all of them. This connector with 3 pins does your turn signal. It's the exact same connector that your turn signal bulb socket uses now. Unplug it from your factory headlights and plug that in here. Next to that, we have a 2-pin rectangular connector, and this is for your side marker parking light. That's the bulb that's up here in the corner, a single little T10 bulb. Throw that thing in the garbage and connect this to your stock side marker wiring. Next up in the harness, you have the 2 OEM connectors for the halogen headlight that go into this adapter for the LED headlights. If you have the OEM LED headlights, you're going to have these 2 plugged into the adapter harness, and you're actually going to hook this gray multi-pin connector to your factory wiring for headlights and everything else. On this harness, there's a few things going on. Number one, we have this circuit right here. You don't have to worry about it. This little box contains a piece of OEM circuit board that your original headlights had to operate with the data for the different functions of your LEDs. And then this is another box kind of like this one, but this time it's a capacitor. All this does is help modulate the electricity going from your stock computer to the new headlights. This is something that would be built in to your stock headlights from the factory, and Morimoto had to reproduce it somehow. Lastly, we have this large gray connector. This one is what plugs into your main headlight wiring that comes off your factory headlights. Totally plug and play. If you do not have the LED headlights, it will look like this. You've got the main headlight 3-pin wire harness, and you have the secondary 4-pin connector. If you do not have LED headlights and you're running the halogen reflector headlights, you've got these 3. Very simple, it just looks like a lot of wiring because of the adapter harness.
So the first step in getting these headlights installed is removing the old ones. And to do that, you're going to need a 10mm socket and a flat screwdriver or a similar pry tool. We've got 4 bolts to remove from the grill, and we've got these 2 plastic push pins on the left and right side. So let's get these bolts out of the way. Now with a flat screwdriver or a pry tool, whatever you've got at home, go ahead and remove these plastic clips right here. The rest of it comes out just like so. Do that on the left and right side, and set those off to the side. Now the easiest way to pull the front grille off this truck is to take your fingertips and lift up on the top part, and that'll release it from these plastic bosses here that the bolts thread into. And at that point you can reach down here, and if the truck hasn't been taken apart before, it's going to be a little tough. Reach in here and just pull it toward you. It'll pop right off, set it off to the side. So we're back to the flat screwdriver. Go ahead and pull these 2 plastic pins out. Just reach in, pop the center out, just like the ones for the grill. And we'll set those off to the side. At this point, this plastic piece here is going to come off, and it just clips in along here. So if you pull it toward you gently, you'll be able to release it from the truck, like so. Now we've got a 10mm bolt to remove right here. We've got 2 bolts to remove up top. We've got one here and one here. Now there's a similar trick to pulling this headlight as there was doing the grill. If you lift up on these plastic mounting spots and pull them away from where the bolt threads in, the headlight will release itself. There's a little bracket down here too that you make sure you want to clear. There we go. And now we can see the wiring on the back side. Go ahead and unplug all of this. Go ahead and press in on the tab on each of these to remove them. This one actually just pulls toward you. Now if you've got a vehicle equipped with a factory LED headlights, it might look a little different back here for you. You might just have one big plug to deal with. This truck in particular has the halogen headlights, and so we've got this assortment of plugs. This is the electric adjustable motor for the headlight adjustment inside the vehicle. And then over here is our turn signal. So press down on that, pull it toward you. Go ahead and release the wire harness from the headlight itself. You can use a screwdriver to make this easier, or you can grab it with the pliers, whatever works. And now we can finally pull the headlight away from the vehicle. Go ahead and plug your factory headlight connector in. The adjustable headlight motor plugs in like so. I love that that drops right in. You don't need to swap this off of your old headlight and onto the new one like some other headlight companies out there. That's no fun for anybody. We've got our single T10 connector here for the marker light, and that plugs in like so. And we've got our turn signal connector, which plugs in just like so. I love how each of these click together real nice. I don't have to worry about them coming apart. As you can see, I can pull on it. It's not going to dislodge itself as I'm going down the highway. I'm not going to lose turn signal. That's very important. Now we're almost completely ready to reinstall this headlight. When you do so, be mindful of this single connector down here. This is our DRL harness connector, and if your truck doesn't have the LED headlights from the factory, you will need to do a fuse tap. I'm going to show you how to do that and how to run that wiring, and more importantly how to plug it in. But you can go ahead and rest the headlight back in the truck right now. We'll do that harness next. Now head on over to the driver's side of the truck, and you're going to see the fuse box here just above the battery. Go ahead and press in on this tab to remove the lid. And we've got a single 10mm fuse down here that we're going to end up removing. It's this isolated one that's kind of off on its own here. Go ahead and grab onto it with needle nose pliers like so. Remove the fuse and install your fuse tap in the same slot that it came out of. Just like that. Now you can take the wiring and just run it off to the side here. The fuse box lid will close over it just fine. There we go. Now you'll notice on this fuse tap harness that we've got two different plugs running off of it. One is a lot shorter than the other. That one goes to the driver's side headlight. The longer one runs over the passenger side. It's up to you how you want to run that wiring. In the past, I've gone across here. There's this foam above the radiator. You can zip tie alongside the radiator up top, or you can follow the horn wiring down in the front here. It kind of depends on the grill and whether or not you've got any other add-ons installed. But for now, I'm just going to run it along front, pass it through. I'm going to follow existing wiring whenever possible. And I'll run back through after I'm done here and zip tie this up real nice so it looks clean. But for now, I want to get everything installed and make sure everything works properly. Go ahead and connect this to that single connector on the back of the headlight that I showed you earlier. Might be easier to just pop the headlight back out if you've already got it installed. Go ahead and plug it in just like so, and install the headlight.
The Morimoto XB LED headlights got it all. Their LED projector technology with a super bright DRL with an option to get the white or the amber version. But that's not all. They also have matching fog lights, and at Headlight Revolution we have a ton of lighting upgrades for your truck. We've got the NSV light bar that gives you that swiping kind of Knight Rider look. We've got cargo lights and reverse lights and interior lighting. Basically anything you could do, including off-road lighting, to your Tundra. You can light up the wheel wells and show everybody your badass suspension. Or upgrade your map lights and vanity lights inside the vehicle for true function. Whatever you're looking for lighting upgrades to improve the safety, style, and performance of your Tundra, we got it. Check out headlightrevolution.com.